It's official. From now onwards, the US dollar will start losing its position as the global reserve currency because the United States has lost the war in Iran. Some people say that the war is not over yet. But if you look at what the United States and Iran has agreed upon, it is clear that every single country in the world today will start moving away from the dollar as the global reserve currency. And the first countries that are going to ditch the dollar are the Gulf countries. So officially, today is the day the petrodollar is over. The agreement that the United States has signed to keep the dollar as the global reserve currency after Nixon abandoned the gold standard is officially over today. So what exactly the United States and Iran has agreed on? First of all, Iran will not charge tolls for the Strait of Hormuz and will completely reopen the strait. Now, that is a really great headline, and that's a really great win for Donald Trump. However, if you look at the details of this deal, Iran will actually charge a toll for every single ship that is going to cross the Strait of Hormuz. Now, how do I know that? If you look at the Strait of Hormuz, you will see that part of it actually belongs to Iran because these are Iran's territorial water, and the other part belongs to Oman's territorial power. And then part of that, which you can see over here, is literally belongs to the international waters. But the problem is that all of these waters are under mines. So if you want ships to cross the Strait of Hormuz, you have to remove all the mines. And it will take a few months for Iran to actually remove them. This is technically extremely difficult, and Iran is probably the only country that can do that because they know where they have actually laid these mines in. Which means that, yes, they will open the strait, but the ships will either have to go through the Oman's territorial waters or Iran's territorial waters. And if you're crossing Iran's territory, then Iran can charge you whatever price they want. And they will simply say, wait, we still haven't actually removed these mines, which means that we have to cross through our territory, which means that we can charge you whatever we want, and this is international legal because we're charging you since you are crossing our international waters. So Iran will continue charging the tolls for every single ship throughout the next 2 months as these negotiations will continue. Isn't that genius? On one side, it's a victory for the United States, but if you look at the actual reality, then Iran will actually get what they actually wanted. Now, the United States will unfreeze half of the 24 billion Iranian assets as the humanitarian causes. This is to ensure that to regain the trust of Iran. The United States have engaged in multiple rounds of negotiations with Iran, and the United States bombed them during these negotiations. So Iran is like, we can't possibly trust you. So in order for us to trust you, you have to unfreeze some of these assets. So the US has agreed to unfreeze half of these assets, which is around $12 billion, and the other half will be unfrozen when the final agreement will be reached. Which means, again, Iran is actually getting what they want before any kind of a deal is signed. Iran's nuclear program won't be dismantled, but they have to agree on that within the next 60 days of negotiations. So this is not a final deal, but rather this is a memorandum of understanding. So we have actually agreed on a framework of a deal which we are going to negotiate within the next 60 days. So we don't know how that nuclear program is going to be negotiated. What are going to be the details of this nuclear program? So before entering into this memorandum of understanding, Iran doesn't actually have to dismantle their nuclear program. Why exactly the US even started this war to begin with? And also, as part of these negotiations, the United States will have to remove the sanctions for Iran to continue negotiating, which means that Iranian oil will be sold in the international markets, which means that Iran's banks, partially at least, will be lifted out of sanctions so that Iran can integrate into the global economy. So on one side, Iran got everything they wanted. On the other side, the US didn't even get what they started the war with. United States wanted a regime change. That never happened. The United States wanted to dismantle Iran's nuclear capabilities, which again, the United States did not do that. And thirdly, the US wanted to destroy Iran's missile stockpile, which again, the United States did not achieve that. Here's the most important question. How does that even damages the US dollar? You see, the petrodollar agreement that the US and the Gulf countries have signed was that they will sell the oil in the US dollar in exchange for protection. So the United States will protect Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Oman, and all these countries in exchange that they will exclusively sell their oil in US dollars. And because every major economy, be it the Chinese economy, the Japanese economy, the German economy, or the British economy, all of these nations are buying massive amounts of oil from the Middle East. But if they want to buy that oil, they first have to buy US dollars from the United States. That creates demand for the US dollar. And that means that global trade automatically happens in the US dollar because automatically everybody needs oil. And that's what kept the US dollar as the global reserve currency, even though that since 1971, it is not backed by any gold or whatsoever. But the agreement was that anything that would happen to the Gulf countries, the United States of America is going to protect them. And they trusted the United States because the United States was the only country that can offer something like that. There wasn't any other nation that could offer that because these Gulf countries have enemies. On one side, it is Iran that poses a threat to them. On the other side, it's Israel that poses a threat to them. But what exactly has happened? The United States started the war that damaged all of these countries, and the United States can't win this war. Now, if you started this war, Donald Trump made it clear that the people of Iran, you have to rise up and you have to overthrow your government because we are here to support you. Let me ask you a question. Did that happen? No. Did the United States start a ground invasion and force a regime change in Iran just like the United States did in Iraq? That did not happen again. So what exactly did the US achieve out of this? Now, you might say that, well, it's too expensive for the United States to do that. But the United States could not even open the Strait of Hormuz when this war was taking place. It was entirely under the control of Iran, which means that the US no longer has the power that it promised to protect the Gulf countries and the Strait of Hormuz and to protect the oil in the Middle East. And now ask yourself a question. If you are the leader of these nations in the Gulf countries, are you going to continue with this petrodollar system or no? It no longer makes sense for you. So now Gulf countries will have to pay Iran a toll. Remember this map that I showed you? Because it's going to take around 60 to 90 days to remove the mines from the Strait of Hormuz, all the oil that will go, for example, from the United Arab Emirates or the Saudi Arabia, the ships will pass and they're like, we got to go through the territorial waters of Iran. And that means that we have to pay Iran a toll. Suddenly, the petrodollar system has to pay Iran a toll in order to sell that oil in the international markets. Do you see how that damages the petrodollar system that we have? So Gulf countries have zero reasons to stay in the petrodollar system. They have to find a new partner. Now, when the war is entirely over, you will find the Gulf leader coming together and asking the question, how are we going to protect our oil? How are we going to protect our nations? The United States is no longer reliable, so maybe we have to move to China. So when these nations will ask for protections from China, China will basically make it very clear that yes, you will be able to sell your oil in the international markets. And we as Chinese going to ensure that Iran is not going to attack you because we have this huge leverage over Iran. And that means that you gotta get out of the petrodollar and get into petro yuan. And guess what? We have already built the entire infrastructure and we tested the entire infrastructure, which means that on day one, we can literally move away from the petrodollar and move to the petro yuan. So from now onwards, the petrodollar system is going to entirely be eliminated. It might not happen under the watch of Donald Trump, but remember, Donald Trump will be out of office in a couple of years and the next president of the United States will have to face the consequences that the petrodollar no longer exists. But here's the question. Knowing all these risks, why exactly Donald Trump agreed to such a bad deal? You see, the United States was left with two very, very bad options. On one side, you started this bombing campaign, you could not achieve your objectives, and now you're gonna send the ground troops to do the final job and to finish the job. That would cost you trillions of dollars without any exaggeration. The current military budget is over $1 trillion. And if you want to send 1 million troops to Iran, which is the most difficult country to conquer because it's surrounded by mountains and has a population of 90 million people, then you certainly need at least a few million people to send them there. Just take an example of any war in the history. I mean, just to take over Iraq, the United States probably sent like 300 or 400,000 troops. And now Iran is like 4 or 5 times larger than Iraq. And that means trillions of dollars, massive inflation, and who knows how that war would end. That war might have cost the United States so much money that it might bankrupt the United States. How do we know that? Because the US already runs a $2 trillion deficit. The second option was a global depression. Why? Because since this war started, major countries across the globe, including the United States, began releasing their strategic oil reserves since oil was already so scarce. And look at this data. By November of this year, the European Union's strategic oil reserves would be depleted. That's it. So European Union would already be in a depression 100% by November of this year. And by March of the next year, the strategic oil reserves will end in the United States as well, which means that the United States and its closest ally, the European Union, would be in a very dire financial situation. And that's the problem, that this peace is not going to last very long. Again, remember, a memorandum of understanding is a non-legally binding agreement. So nobody's actually signing anything that they have to legally bind themselves to, which means that at any point, Iran or the United States can simply get out of this agreement if they want to. But this 60 days will give the United States and the European Union enough time to refill the strategic reserves. So the United States might use this opportunity to prepare for the ground invasion to save the US dollar. Since you have to prepare for a ground invasion, maybe the next 60 days will be used by the United States to prepare the US troops, to prepare the US economy, to fill back these strategic reserves. And if the ground invasion will happen, it is going to worsen the debt. Now, I want you to look at this graph, and here you see is that what is going to happen to the US deficit and to the yields of the US treasuries if a ground invasion is going to happen. If a ground invasion will happen literally in 60 days from now, we'll instantly see that the yields will rise to almost 8%. Just to give you a context, that a single percentage rise in yields will cost the United States about $400 billion, since the total amount of debt is about $40 trillion. Last year, the US government paid $1 trillion. So if they rise to about 8%, that's $2 trillion of interest payments starting from next year. In fact, starting from this year, it will rise maybe to as much as $1.5 trillion. And these interest payments will continue rising. And by 2034, the debt will be so unsustainable that the United States will not be able to go to any fight or whatsoever, because it will rise to 120% of the GDP. And this is the public debt. But let's assume that the ground invasion is not going to happen and the status quo will continue the way it is right now. That means that the Gulf countries will start looking for a new partner, and de-dollarization of the world will be much faster, and the countries will start dumping the US dollar way faster than they did in the past. And there is going to be a petro yuan because somebody has to protect the Gulf countries. And in that scenario, the yields will continue rising every single year. And by 2034, which is in the next 7 to 8 years, the debt to GDP ratio can rise to as much as 140%. And that means that the cost of borrowing money across America is going to become much more expensive. The cost of borrowing money to buy a house is going to become much more expensive. Your auto loan is going to become much more expensive, which means that the next 5 to 10 years are going to be incredibly much more expensive. So if you think that this war is going to be over and things will go back to normal, then you have no idea what's about to happen. And that's why it's extremely important that you should be thinking about yourself. You have to start investing. You have to take care of yourself financially. You have to start building an emergency fund. You have to start building an investing portfolio that is going to replace your income if something is going to happen. Because as prices will continue rising, as the cost of living will continue going up, what do you think is going to happen? The price of assets will continue rising. And that's why the rich people are not afraid of this change. They know that they have their investments that will replace their income should something happen. Let me ask you, Do you have an investment portfolio that can replace your paycheck? Well, if you don't know how to start, if you don't have that kind of investments, then join the Investing Academy, because there you will get a step-by-step step on how to build that, which are the best stocks you have to buy in the stock market right now. We still have a few free spots left in the Investing Academy, so if you use the link in the description of this video, you might get some of these free spots. The link is in the description of this video.